evening, everyone. This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope y'all been having a great week. In this video, I'm going to talk about really two storms, but the biggest one is the potential nor'easter that's going to hit the northeast next week. And models have really honed in on what could be really the first big storm for them, probably in about 2 years or so. But it's not only going to affect areas of the Northeast, but it has the potential to really maybe bring ice for areas of Virginia, maybe North Carolina, possibly South Carolina. But we're going to talk about that, break it all down here. This is going to be a lengthy video, guys, so it's going to be two main parts. We're going to break down the nor'eastern potential and the potential accumulations and just the storm impacts. And then the next part we'll talk about the potential ice threat, even as far south as the Carolinas and the storm. So before we get deep into this video, I've had a lot of growth over the last couple weeks, I would say. Recently had 1,000 subscribers. So if you're new watching this video, tune in about this exciting weather coming up. Hit that subscribe button. Give it a like if you enjoy it, and share it with your friends and family. I really appreciate the growth. And my Twitter link's here, Facebook's there. I'm very active on both. Like I said, this is going to be a lengthy video, so hang tight with me as we try to break this down. If you got questions about if your area is going to get this, that, and the other, tune in, and I'll try to cover that as much as possible. But if you got a question, just leave it in the comments. But let's get deep into this. So the models have not backed off today at all. And in fact, if anything, they've gotten the potential has gotten higher for snowfall in the northeast. But here you go. You got that system cruising across north of Chicago. Then you got this system that drops down that brings Oklahoma City its first potential big winter storm of the year. This one has trended north, especially on the European model. And the European model is probably one of the most north and the coldest. So this may be a pre-event for Monday for maybe even higher elevations of the mountains of West Virginia, maybe North Carolina. This could drop a few inches of snow even close to the big cities, but really this isn't the big event. If we keep going, we're getting into, and if your video is not on 720, definitely make sure it is. I know it'll default to 480 if you have kind of bad internet or just an area with Wi-Fi. It's not a strong connection, but make sure it's in 720 so you can see these dates. We're at Wednesday now, and then this next system starts cranking up. And check out the ice breaking out in the Triad in North Carolina, and even then getting to Virginia. But check out Washington, D.C. Maybe your snow hole potentially will go away finally. The Euro definitely throws y'all a bone here and really gets a big-time band. Just a solid thumping of snow for even DC. It'll be close, but look at this thing crank up and head northeast. This is going to be a big one even for New York City, Philadelphia. Be close. This will be a big time wet snow if this really keeps trending this way. And really the models are really honed in on this. We're going to show you the ensembles that are really showing a strong signal. But check out New York City, Boston, and then it moves on out. And really, there's another one behind it. We won't talk about this one, but there's another system that gets way off. It's way off the coast, but that really sneaks to tries to bring even some more cold air here. So we're going to watch this too for sure. So here we go. Here we're going to get a little bit closer with this run, and this is kind of like the Mid-Atlantic. And like I said, we're on the European run, and here comes that first system. That really can dump, several inches of snow. We're going to watch this. This first system has really trended north. This may be, like I said, like a pre-event. Might lay down an area of snow. Who knows? It could enhance the cold air and make this system even colder. But here comes the big system. And check it out. We'll talk more about this later in the video. Stay tuned for you guys in the Carolinas. I'm going to break this down or fast forward if you don't care about the Northeast getting hit. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit. But here comes the snow breaking out of Western Virginia. This is just a classic look to a nor'easter, and we're going to talk about potential winds too, and just what they do. They come together like this, and look, could be a big event for Washington D.C. I'm about to show you snowfall accumulation, so bear with me. Philadelphia, New York City. We're going to jump to the northeast here, and here it comes. My bad, I fast forward here, but here it comes. New York City, Boston. This is all snow. It may start out as rain briefly, but this is wet, heavy snow that could cause power outages, and especially you get a little wind mixed in. But I tell you what, it is not buckled. We'll go and look at a run prior, and really it hasn't changed. This is from the overnight runs. So we're going to be watching this all weekend for sure, because it's going to change. But I'll tell you one thing, the storm signal is there to stay. But here you go. Here's what everybody's kind of been looking for right here. This is the snowfall accumulation. You see this little strike that pops up down here, and you'll see it. Here it comes. This is that vent that has trended north. There's not quite as much cold air yet, but here comes the big event that goes on top of that. I mean, look at that. That is a classic looking northeastern look here. Just over a foot of snow, even for the big cities, showing 15 inches in New York City. You know, potentially for, you know, several inches, over a half a foot in Washington, D.C. It'll be close. At Philadelphia, maybe a foot of snow. Boston, a foot of snow. The whole entire 95 corridor riding the East Coast here. It really breaks out here, and almost 2 foot of snow in areas of western Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania, southeastern Pennsylvania. Might be a jackpot right in here, but who knows what the jackpot area is going to be this far out. But let's look at the mid-Atlantic here, a little bit closer, further south. Here comes that first event. Here comes the big event. So even down here, you know, maybe Boone, North Carolina, Roanoke, Charlottesville, you know, this is going to be close for them guys right around here. There might be some ice, but this could really be a big event here for these guys. So we're going to move forward here. And what I want to show you here is the ensemble runs. So the ensemble runs is, you know, your EPS ensemble runs for the European model. It's several runs put together that basically is an average or a mean of the potential. It's multiple runs put together, and it shows basically an average of every single run put together. So I know I kind of just repeated myself 100 times there, but here you go. Here's that first system. The mean right here is 3 inches just from this first system, and in central Pennsylvania places a little stripe in West Virginia, and if you keep going here, here comes your other system, and see how the big increase in the mean right there. That's the northeastern. That's what kind of piles on top of it. So when you got a mean this high in the ensembles, that is basically the signal you need. You can look at the operational models till the cows come home, but it doesn't mean anything if it's not showing up on the ensemble runs. So, and it's a solid signal. I know you're looking, this is saying 6 inches in New York City. That's not a lot, but that is a solid signal this far out. And there's even a solid signal. You go into the Triad of North Carolina, Virginia. How much of that is ice, we don't know. But you get a little deeper into the northeast, half a foot of snow, Boston, half a foot of snow in New York City, several inches in Washington, D.C., and Philadelphia, Baltimore. I'm not saying that's a sure bet, but this is about as good as a signal as I've seen for the northeast, and you know, a year and a half, 2 years. So solid look here. So what we're going to do here, and hopefully I don't have to load this page. I might have to again. What we're going to do here is look at the GFS. So we're no longer on the European run. Here comes that first system. First system can really pop off some heavy snow and higher elevations, high like 3,000-4,000 feet in the air here in parts of Virginia and West Virginia. It's obviously not going to be as more north. The GFS is much more south with this than the European is. So we're going to see who wins this battle with this first system. But as we're going, I'm sorry about that. My kids are in the background. As we're going further, we get into the northeastern here. That's going to crank up, and it's still showing on the GFS. Now, what I'm noticing with the GFS is the low looks a little bit more south. So there's more cold air drag down, but there's not as much precipitation probably far north. So the snowfall accumulations are impressive, but not quite as impressive as the Euro. But I want to back up because I'm going to hone in on this a little bit later in the video. You see this high pressure? That's what's causing a little bit of cold air damming down into Virginia and the Carolinas. But you know, it's only 1033. That's not that impressive a high pressure. Now, that's enough for areas in the Northeast, and the placement's good for areas in the Northeast, as you got a negative NAO that's really cranking enough cold air down here. But for us, you need a good old 1040 or something more impressive that's really just pumping colder air down in these CAD areas. So when you get this event right here, you can have winter weather going all the way maybe into the upstate of South Carolina. So the GFS really just has a weak high pressure. There's not a lot of cold air flowing down for these guys down here and us here in the Carolinas. But for the Northeast, it's marginal enough, but on the good side of marginal, to really just a thumping of heavy, wet snow. Someone's going to get thunder snow here. I know a lot of people like hearing that word. I know it. I do. I've seen it a couple times in my life, actually here in the South, but it really would be always cool to see that again. But here's a little bit closer to the Northeast. Like I said, the GFS does not have that first storm really getting there. And you look back in previous runs, it stayed pretty much consistent. But here comes the big dog right here. Someone in this area, here, if you see my cursor, is going to get a nasty band of snow. And I'm favoring more in this area just because climate says that's the more favored area, just being more northeast. But that's the look right there. So you jump to accumulation, and I'm going to do a more broader view to start out here. The first system doesn't really even pick up much, except in Virginia and West Virginia. But here comes the northeastern or a system that's going to crank up here. That's still a solid signal. And honestly, it's trending north. Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a trend. But it has came north in the runs. As I flip here, I go to the run prior. So if I'm going forward right now, you see that jump up here, see that jump north. So that's the noontime GFS run. This is the 18Z GFS run here. So the bump up in totals are there. It's showing 8 inches in Boston, half a foot in New York City. I really do think these areas stand a better chance to get more. But even Washington, D.C., several inches of snow. Baltimore, Philadelphia. Closer look here. Just a stripe of over a half a foot of snow here. So, it's really looking like a solid bet you're going to get hit. And here it is. Here is the GFS. Basically, these are the GFS ensembles, not the European ensembles. Explained the same way. And I tell you what, the ensembles are more impressive than the operational run. You see, and I can't get any closer here, but you see the purple stripe right here going over the New York City, Boston, the main cities here. That's over 6, 7, 8 inches of snow. So you got a mean of 6, 7, 8 inches of snow. But look at the ensembles. So this is signal down here, even in North Carolina, Virginia. Even the far, far northern tip of the western upstate of South Carolina. I really don't think we're going to get into this, but we're going to watch it here of a signal of something. So I would think it would favor ice right in this area. But, we get a little bit closer. I want to show you this. This is potential winds. When you get a nor'easter like this, winds are always a problem. This is going to be heavy, wet snow. It's not going to be dry, or it's not going to be snowing in the low 20s or anything. It's going to be pouring snow in the upper 20s to low 30s. So here comes Wednesday into Thursday, which is when this event's going to occur. And look where this low pressure is off the coast, just throwing these high winds. These are potential wind gusts courtesy of the Euro. And, potential wind gusts 40, 50 miles per hour just off the coast of New York City, Long Island. Definitely has to watch out. I mean, it looks intense. So coastal flooding, definitely a big deal. We'll know more about that here in the coming days. But this is the icon. Let me tell you, the icon's notorious for having a warm bias, but it's decent at storm tracks here. But it shows that narrow northern flank of stripe, just enough cold air for some snow on this first storm. But here comes the second storm. The second storm's not quite in range of the latest icon, but the signal's there, snow. It's trying to say that this low pressure is going to be way up here, and that kind of contradicts what I just said, but I don't think it's going to be this far up. It's showing just all rain in Washington, D.C., but I don't think that's going to occur. I do think they're going to be close. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Carolinas now. We're not going to drag on to this because it gets really tricky in the Carolinas and Virginia, lower areas of Virginia, as far as a icing event. But I want to show you the crazy Canadian run, because this run is always just... I learned several years back when I used to get excited about this run every time it came out and showed something crazy. It took me a couple years, but finally over the years I began to understand that it has a cold bias. It is almost always wrong. But here it is. This is the nor'easter. It has that low pop off here. It's saying it's cold enough for snow, even in areas in North Carolina, South Carolina right here. North Carolina showing a raging snowstorm with an ice event to the east and southeast. Even in Charlotte showing a potential ice storm, and then it rides up and just throttles the northeast. Now, you want to talk about heavy snow. This is insanely heavy snow right here. That is definitely probably thunder snow or something like that. We can go on and look at the snowfall totals here. It doesn't really account for ice, so it just kind of throws it all together. But showing 4 inches of North Carolina, South Carolina border, I don't think that's going to happen at all. But there it is. You see that greenish area right there? That is almost 2 foot of snow for New York City. Oh, it's crazy. It's a crazy model. Never know. Nor'easters have definitely been notorious for dropping more snow than that. So bear with me. It's taking me too long to get to this tab over here. But here we go. This is the European. This is more reliable this far out. And we're going through, like I said, we're going to have a shot at rain over the weekend. But as we get closer to Wednesday, because I don't think the first storm is going to do nothing but throw rain here in the Carolinas. It will have a chance to do some wintry weather, maybe in parts of Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, but nothing outside of higher elevations. But here we go. So here's that ice breaking out, courtesy of the European, Wednesday morning. And, this isn't just ice in the mountains. This is, Shelby, getting close to Lincolnton, Gaston, Hickory. It's showing enough cold air damming right here to start off as ice here. And even if you get later into Wednesday, there's still ice holding on for parts of the triad. But one thing I do want to note here is temperatures. So we're going to keep it at 120 here, hour 120, which is Wednesday morning, next Wednesday morning. And bear with me. It took me too long to get to this tab, like I said. So stick here with me because this is very interesting. I want to show you how borderline these temps are from being freezing. So this is hour 120, right? So look at the temperatures. You're below freezing right in here, almost all the way to Charlotte where it's showing it's 35. But even look into the Greenville-Spartanburg area where it's 33 degrees, 31 here, 31, 33, all the way back to Raleigh in the mid-30s. So it's close. Now you flip back to this, and here comes the moisture. But like, for instance, it's saying all rain here in Greenville-Spartanburg. Well, it's 33 degrees. That's how close it is. And let me tell you something. I'm sure a lot of weather enthusiasts who are watching this have already heard this for the Carolinas. Cold air damming events tend to be underperform in long-range models. Basically, I'm saying they're normally a lot more colder than they are forecast in models far out. They always end up being a degree or two colder, and sometimes that makes all the difference. So you flip it here, and look here, you're showing a stripe of rain here, really in Statesville, Charlotte, areas like this. But look at the temperatures. If you flip back to the temperatures, for that same area showing rain, look how close it is, mid to low 30s. Just need a couple degrees. It's not even close to freezing rain in like Columbia, South Carolina, but that's a pretty cold, raw, rainy day. So that's something we need to watch. The last thing I'll show you is actually ice accumulation. The 6-hour ice accumulations for that time frame. And if you look here, and you'll have to look here at the bottom of the screen, but it shows that maybe a trace, 1/10 of an inch. You go to the next frame, and that's ice storm criteria right there. That's 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch of ice here in the far northern areas. So I do think there's going to be a small area, if the models hold serve, that could hit ice storm criteria at the far south end of this storm, right when it gets going, where there's enough cold air damming right here, entrenching into Virginia and North Carolina. So that's all I got, guys. I know that's a whole mouthful, but interesting times ahead with 2 storms, and even after the potential nor'easter next week for the northeast, and that storm affects the whole entire East Coast. There looks like there could be more system on the horizon as we get closer to Christmas. Cold air, can we link up something here in the southeast? I don't know. I'm going to keep paying attention, though. I'll tell you that. But that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It's so appreciated. Y'all are helping me live out my dream in a way of just talking about weather. So I appreciate all y'all. Y'all have a great day, and I'll probably have an update tomorrow. Good night.